First and Now is brought to you by World Vision Canada, national charity partner of the BC Lions. Visit bclions.com/worldvision to become a supporter. Matt Baker alongside New Orleans-bound Nik Kowalski. I've got a Bible of tips for New Orleans for you, and there's an addition to it when you're going with the Moj, but we'll get into that off the air. How are you? You excited?
I'll take you up on that because I'm probably my first time out there, so I'll need the advice.
Yeah, like can we start with that a little bit? I know we want to talk a bit about the schedule, some re-signings, some possible signings coming down, but I wish I'm going to have some FOMO for this one because I'll tell you, and I think I've told you before, New Orleans, out of all the Super Bowls I did with Moj, the best.
People love it.
They just unbelievable, just different. Have you been anywhere in the South? Like,
no, to be honest. Like I've done California, but that doesn't count.
So
Arizona, that doesn't
talking
count,
about
though.
like
Texas,
Southern hospitality.
No, I know none of that.
And I'm saying it because it's a real thing. The people are fabulous in New Orleans. People say hi, they ask how you're doing, and Southern hospitality, it's a real thing. Bourbon Street, the French Quarter. I hope you're going to have some time to explore.
It sounds
in
like
the
it.
evening, right?
Apparently, I got to bring my skates too. I've been looking at the weather. Apparently, so I don't know if you saw that video.
Yeah, the dude playing hockey there on Canal. That was Canal Street, which, yeah, it's a great time. Cajun food, Ambita beers.
What did Moj call himself when he did the jambalaya?
Hokey something?
Thibodeau, yeah.
Hokey Thibodeau.
Yeah.
Well, Hokey Thibodeau himself, you might meet the real guy. So, don't drink too many hurricanes. That's the only advice I'm going to give you.
That's page 1?
Yeah.
I'll get into this book after, yeah.
I'm sure Mo just told you the story, my first night, but first night was a little crazy, but I lived to tell about it, and that was a great week. It was the Niners and the Ravens. My team lost, but still a great experience being there and seeing the Niners there. Bought some Niners beads on Bourbon Street somewhere. Still got the beads at home. My daughter likes to wear them and play with them. So there you go. NOLA, it's the Eagles and the Chiefs. Maybe we'll do our predictions before the end of this episode. It's a little early for that. We're still, 11 days out from Super Bowl 59, but never too early to get those in. Some people are probably tired of this matchup. I'm pretty intrigued to see how it goes. Second time in 3 years. Chiefs going for the three-peat, of course, but the second time in 3 years they'll be facing the Philadelphia Eagles. And, great time of year in the world of sports. We're just around the corner from CFL free agency, but it's our first episode since the 2025 schedule dropped. Lions will begin season 71 Saturday, June 7th against the Edmonton Elks, 7 o'clock. It's a Saturday night at Save on Foods Field at BC Place. Concert kickoff. Not sure who that's going to be yet, but anything jump out to you, Nik, at this schedule?
Starting at 7 p.m. is going to be a little different. So you got the late night crowd for Saturday. So that's obviously the main event of it's week 1, right? We're starting off in Edmonton for the home opener.
Yes.
So week 1, you got the heavyweight.
Winnipeg's got the week 1 bye.
Oh yes, they do, and then we have to go to Winnipeg on our only 4-day week of the year, so we get that out of the way early.
There you go.
I was looking at this actually from CFL Stats Geek on Instagram, so he actually made these like graphs of the whole schedule. So we have 123 rest days this year. It's kind of the middle of the pack. Our only 4-day week is that week 1, week 2 stretch. And obviously, naturally, being located in Vancouver, the Lions are going to have the most travel time. There's 3 Ontario teams, and every single time we fly, we leave our time zone, we leave our province. But he actually put a number on this for the amount of kilometers we're flying. So we're flying 34,596 kilometers a season, and that's 7,000 more than any other team. So there's a couple of things that stood out to me. But I mean, overall, get Winnipeg on a back-to-back or a home and home, week 2, week 3. That's going to be massive, as they always are against the Bombers. And then, Vernon Adams Jr. and the Calgary Stampeders don't come here until I think it's at middle of October, right? So that's kind of a while, but...
Yeah, we don't see them at all till September. What is it?
October 4th, Gravy Bowl.
September 16th, we go there. October 4th, they come here, yes.
Yeah, so
they don't
return.
Come here. Yeah. Gravy Bowl, Saturday. Yeah, we're going to rack up those WestJet points in the summer. A 3-game road stretch. This is what stands out to me, young Nicky. Week 4, go to Saskatchewan, and then a July 5th game in Montreal. Usually we're in Montreal in September watching the Week 1 NFL game.
Every year.
We're going to be doing that in Ottawa this year.
Okay, not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Or Gatineau.
Or see where the night takes us, yes. It's easy to fall into that trap in Ottawa too, right? Oh, it's only 8 o'clock at night back home. It's the night's still young.
The name is blanking me. You'll probably know it. But whenever we go to Ottawa, it's kind of like just behind Parliament. There's like a little market there.
Byward.
Oh, it's the best. That's where I've ventured out the last 2 years. And
Chang and I ended up there last year. Yeah, good times. Stephen Chang we're talking about, of course. But that is, I was in the middle of saying, after Montreal, it's easy to get sidetracked when you're talking about Montreal and Ottawa and New Orleans. Edmonton, July 13th on a Sunday, Trey Ford and Nathan Rourke. And by the way, that June 7th opener, should it be Nathan Rourke and Trey Ford, something we haven't seen since the late 50s.
2 Canadian
or early
quarterbacks,
60s, I think it was. 2 Canadian quarterbacks. Pete Oler for your BC Lions in a game against Edmonton. So a lot of historical nuggets, but yeah, that's what stood out to me. The 3 games in the West, the 3 games on the road, Saskatchewan, Montreal, Edmonton. Bye weeks are quite similar. We get the shorter bye week at the end of July, a full bye week, Labor Day week, end of August. And we'll get into that bye week in my Go For It or Punt.
Gotcha.
We're gonna talk some baseball at some point, but yeah, a lot of interesting nuggets, as there always is with the schedule. But that's an interesting couple of tidbits there you rattle off on the CFL Stats Geek.
Yeah, the travel, and then the last note from me too. Preseason week 1, May Long, Calgary, BC. So we'll see. Nice to be playing on May Long. That's the Monday. We're going to be in action in the preseason, and more details to come, obviously, in that game.
Yeah, more details, and I know a lot of questions are coming in about FanFest. Last I heard, FanFest will be that weekend at some point. We think maybe the 17th. I don't think it's official yet, but there have been years where we've played an earlier preseason game. 2019 comes to mind for me. We went to Edmonton for preseason. The same weekend, the Raptors beat Milwaukee to advance to the finals.
But that's on the road, though. So
that was on the road, but the FanFest week was that last weekend of camp.
Oh, okay.
Where we're normally playing a game on the road. They just moved it back, but early indicators are that's not going to be the case this time. So,
yeah, it'll be nice to have that May Long, though, be in action.
Yeah. And then Thanksgiving is our third bye after the Gravy Bowl game. So head to bclions.com/schedule. You can view it all for yourself. All kinds of interesting notes.
Oh, the last note, I think we won the schedule release day, too, with Nathan Rourke doing the geoguessing. It was a brilliant performance by Nathan. Very real,
Not according to all the rankings. I think.
Yeah, I thought a lot of teams did well, though. Like Winnipeg stood out to me. Hamilton stood out to me as well. Saskatchewan is always good with quality. So it's nice to see the CFL teams putting forth some good content. But I would say we won.
Edmonton did the blender.
Yeah, that's been done before, though.
It's still kind of cool.
It's cool, but it's no slight. I think we had an original idea. We had a funny idea. And I think, the numbers speak for themselves that we took the crown on schedule release day.
And the geo-guesser extraordinaire fellow
Rainbolt, he commented.
Talked to us on his on our post. Right?
Rainbolt commented on the post. Rainbolt's in he did like a Vancouver video the other day too, where he was guessing like interiors of Vancouver places. BC Places actually featured on it, which is kind of crazy. He's been part of this too, not to get off the rails here, but
that's what we do. It's good.
So I've always been a big Rainbolt guy, following him for years. So last week, I don't know if you saw this, but Gordon Ramsay posted this Instagram photo of him in a jet, and
I heard about
and
this.
It looked like it was in Area 51, and Rainbolt made a video confirming that it was in Area 51, and the whole theory now is that it was part of an advertising campaign because there was one of Gordon Ramsay's pots in the airplane like seat beside him. And they were hashtagging I can't remember the brand name. It's irrelevant at this point anyways, but so Rainbolt is getting involved with Gordon Ramsay in Area 51, a trio I never thought I would say.
See, there you go. How many people can say their schedule release has sort of a tie to Area 51?
There you go. But I thought Nathan did a great job there too. The Winnipeg,
Oh, yeah.
Winnipeg Shade, Edmonton Concrete. People love that.
I recognize this pole. What was that? Hamilton, the pole?
Yeah,
or was that
Tiger Cats flag?
Or was that, yeah. Very nice. Yourself, Liam, everybody involved for making that project happen. We're going to talk to Giulio Caravatta, Lions analyst, on 7:30 CKNW. We'll get to Giulio in a little bit, talk about some Lions news of the month, and get his thoughts on the Canadian quarterback world. Some exciting news there coming down out of Wilfrid Laurier. Interested to hear Giulio's thoughts on that. But as far as the Lions go, yeah, it's kind of the calm before the storm. We're a few days out as we record this from the legal tampering period. The negotiating period, I think, is the proper way, more appropriate way to explain that. Teams can talk and make offers to pending free agents. You'll see news trickling out of guys agreeing to terms with new teams. Contracts can't be signed until Tuesday the 11th. But the Lions are getting some work done. We should first mention, listen to our special episode with Bo Lacumbo, our proud World Vision ambassador. Of course, Bo announcing his retirement after a 10-year career. And props to Bo, who's currently in Victoria, still doing the Lions community programs, even though he's not going to be playing anymore. But check that out. Very candid discussion with Bo. But what else stands out for you as far as re-signings here?
Well, you mentioned Wilfrid Laurier, and we did get a Wilfrid Laurier member back in the fold, and I think an underrated one at that, right, too. Isaiah Messam is who I'm referring to. You know, he was someone who got reps, and I think it was 2019 when he got safety reps and linebacker reps, but since then he's been a complete special teamer. I think probably leads the Lions in special teams tackles from the day he joined, right? Maybe Lacumbo's maybe the other guy that could challenge him in that category, but Messam's been a teamer and double-digit tackles usually most years. So someone maybe not the flashiest signing, but I thought that one stood out to me in the past 2 weeks here. And then I think, what was the other one we got? Andrew Pearson, I think, came back.
Andrew Pearson was that same week, yeah.
So those are two that stand out to me. You know, Pearson's a guy too.
Versatile,
yeah, great in the locker room. Can catch balls as we saw last year. We'll see if Buck Pierce's offense has any room for that in the future here. But
not many Lions can say they caught 100% of their targets last year. Pearson's right, 2 for 20 yards.
Yeah, little tight end action, but yeah, Riley Pickett did too.
He did. Okay, yeah, good call. Yeah,
I was just thinking about that same Calgary game.
Riley Army
Pickett,
knife. Right.
Riley Pickett and Andrew Pearson both had catches.
And
a win over the Stampeders. But Pearson's great to have back in the room. Both guys are really good for the room too. Pearson's one of the more extroverted guys in the locker room. Messam, a little more low key, but I know he's well liked in the room as well too. So good to have those guys back in the fold. And I think there's just under 20 free agents now on the team. So the list is getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, and by the time you listen to this, maybe there's more to come. We can say right before we started this episode, a veteran addition, if you will. Trey Crawford is a defensive end who had a 12-game stint with Hamilton across 2022 and 2023. 18 tackles, 4 sacks, and a forced fumble. Product of Alabama, Birmingham. And he had some NFL stints with Denver and Atlanta before moving north. Most recently, Crawford attended camp in Saskatchewan in 2024. Did not end up on their final roster. So at the stage now, too, where you want depth, you want extra bodies, you need more for these competitions. So for a guy like Sione Tuhema coming back for a 4th year with the organization, good to have some other pieces there.
Yeah, and I think this regime, Ryan Rigmaid and Neil McAvoy, they've done a really good job lately of, finding kind of those diamonds in the rough at that DN position. Like Sione Tuhema was a name that obviously came here as a first-year American. No one really knew much about him, and look what he's turned into. Matthew Betts, I think, classifies as that, right? I know he had all the pedigree as being a Laval guy and a first-round pick in the CFL, but his career didn't get off to the best start, and Rigmaid and McAvoy brought him in, and next thing you know, CFL records are getting broken by Matthew Betts. So, they have a track record for bringing in kind of like under the radar, I guess, is the way you would phrase this kind of these signings at the DN position. And who knows, maybe Trey Crawford fits that bill as well too. So good addition. He's had a couple sacks in his career already too with the Hamilton back in 2023 here. So yeah, welcoming to or intrigued to see what he's going to be bring to the table out here in Kamloops.
Yeah, can't go wrong with experience, and as I'm sure we'll hit it around with Giulio, can never have too many bodies on the line of scrimmage. Have to be good up front, and the two teams battling out in Super Bowl 59 are two of the best on the defensive line, so you can't discount that fact. All right, we'll get to a little go for it or punt. They not like us. Quick plug before we get to Giulio Caravatta, of course. The continuation of Arrow Up Home Turf, episodes 3 and 4, dropping this week. You can head to our YouTube channel. It's been fun. A lot of great engagement, a lot of great feedback and reviews. I want to get into my favorite part from one of the more recent episodes was the bowling with Shaun White. I didn't get to attend this when you went. I had something else I had to do, I think, that night, but those scenes kind of made me laugh. I loved it.
Sandcastles, that's Sean's spot, and it'll actually be popping up again in the final 2 episodes. There's a team birthday party that Sean hosted at that bowling alley. But yeah, Sean's that's kind of the topic with him is just his humor, right? He's someone who's taking his diet quite strictly. Obviously, that's been disclosed on Arrow Up, but the off the field stuff,
kicking with his dad at South Surrey Park.
Yeah, that got a lot of love. Even in the final 2 episodes that are coming out on Monday, we tagged along in Montreal. We tagged along with the specialist to a spa that Sean enjoys going to when he gets
Is that right?
the chance to go to Montreal. So yeah, a lot of off the field stuff. The feedback's been great. Shout out to Jay Janauer and Global BC for getting us on the news there on Saturday morning.
Yeah, we enjoyed that.
On the Global Morning Show. That was really cool getting to go to the studio and talk a little Arrow Up with them. But yeah, the love's been great. If you haven't heard about it yet, Arrow Up Home Turf. It's our docu-series about the 2024 BC Lions, but it follows Shaun White, David Mackey, and TJ Lee. And the first 4 episodes are out right now. Just go to just type in BC Lions, Arrow Up on YouTube, or go to the BC Lions, or official BC Lions. YouTube is the username. You can go to that page and they'll be right there for you to watch. So feedback's been great. It was, like I said all along, it's been a pleasure to work with those 3 guys. And the final 2 episodes coming out on Monday.
Final 2. Very much look forward to getting a look at those. All right, where should the BC Lions look to prioritize as free agency draws nearer? That and more coming up with Giulio Caravatta, Lions color analyst, on First and Now, presented by World Vision Canada. All right, and it is now our great pleasure to welcome him in, as Moj would say. He's at the palatial estate up at Westwood Plateau. Is that right, Giulio?
Not the Westwood Plateau. Don't listen to him.
You're telling me what he says isn't always 100%.
Yeah. You got to fact check him every time.
Yeah, we should have learned the lesson by now, but it is Giulio Caravatta. In the Tri-Cities, we'll say. How's that?
That's good. I can live with that. How are you guys?
Excellent. It's not every day we get to talk to a BC Football Hall of Fame inductee, but he's here. How? Our first time talking to you this year. How's life keeping?
Yeah, no, it's been good. It's always it's always nice this time of the year to kind of get a little bit of a break, right? I try to enjoy it and try to disconnect a little bit from football, but for the month of January, usually in December, that's what I like to do. And usually this time of the year, things start to happen a little bit. Obviously, we're going to be heading into free agency here pretty quickly. And I start to put the football switch back on and start getting myself involved in what's happening around the league. But it's an exciting time of the year. I'm very excited about obviously the upcoming season for the Lions, with a new coach, new general manager, new direction. I'm sure you guys are. It's always this time of the year always brings a lot of hope for everybody and excitement about what your home team is going to be doing with free agency.
Absolutely, and the new GM Ryan Rigmaiden, if you can still call him that, it's been over a couple of months now, but he's been busy. He's pulled off a trade for a most outstanding offensive lineman in 2023, Dejon Allen, Matthew Betts still in the fold. Shaun White. What are sort of your early thoughts on the work he's done before we even get to free agency?
Well, I mean, I've known Ryan a long time, and I've always been a big fan. I've always enjoyed talking football with him. I share a lot of the same, philosophy and thoughts about how you build your team and what you need to win and be successful. I'm super excited for him because I know he's been waiting a long time for this opportunity. I think that he's a guy that's understands and knows the league. He understands what it takes to win and the kinds of players that it takes to win. And so I'm super excited to see, what he does and how he puts it all together. As I said, I mean, and this is not a, disparaging remark about, the situation before, but I think having one general manager with one voice and one idea, and not that Ryan's not going to be talking to Neil and everybody else about, what he wants to do, but I think when you have one guy who's, who has that vision and has that ability, you need that guy to kind of step up and believe in what he sees and what he's doing and be able to go out and execute that plan. So I'm excited for him, and I'm super excited about the year coming up.
Giulio, what do you make of the current offensive infrastructure that's the Lions have going on right now? Because kind of the underrated pieces are, Jarrell Broxton and Dejon Allen are going to be your tackles, but then the pieces everyone's talking about is obviously quarterback Nathan Rourke and now even head coach Buck Pierce. So naturally, I guess this question kind of shifts towards Rourke and Pierce and what they're going to be able to, scheme up with this
That's
season.
that's a very good point, Nick, and that is going to be the storyline going in is and I think too, like we all seen Winnipeg play and Buck and the imprint that he had offensively with that team and their philosophy and what they like to do. He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna deviate away from what he has had success with. So obviously incorporating Nathan and also incorporating some of the other pieces like getting James Butler back, having that piece out of the backfield. We know how much that Buck and they like to run the football and establish the line of scrimmage and then all the play action that happens in around that. So you can expect, I think, a lot of that movement and with the offense. And so I'm sure it's change is always you always wonder about change. You're always a little bit leery, but I'm sure Nathan, now that he's probably talked to Buck a whole bunch of times about what the offense is going to look like and what they're going to expect of him, is probably going to be super excited about what the potential is. So that's going to be something that's ongoing, and I'm sure that as I said, that they've probably met quite a few times already to discuss not only the offense and with the insertion part of it, but the kinds of personnel that he needs and wants to be successful with it. So, but still, as you said, there's still some question marks, right? Like what you want to do, and hopefully, I'm sure it's probably going well. But with Justin McInnis and getting him signed, and what else they do with some of the other receivers, and what are they going to do with free agent? Are they going to add a piece? And so that's the exciting part. The basis is there, right? I think we all agree that the basis is there. They've got some good pieces. Now it's about, adding those couple of little pieces that are going to put them over the top.
So, Giulio, with free agency looming, what are some of the positional groups that you kind of have your eye on heading into the period in terms of what you're curious of what this team's going to be able to do there?
I have to say, I'm a big believer in the line of scrimmage, right? So I think that's where it all starts. Offensive and defensive line. Obviously, they got a lot of getting Betts and Tuyama is obviously another big piece of that. Christian Covington in the middle. I think the interior part of that defensive line is somewhere where they need to be. They need to be able to get after the quarterback a little bit better. Right. You've got the edge rushers, I think, but you need that interior attack that's going to be able to push the pocket. And anytime that you have good defensive ends, if you get the interior part of that defensive lineman and their ability to get to the quarterback, you're now going to free up those ends one-on-one. And you're not going to be able to double team them. You're not going to be able to chip with a running back. You're going to have to worry. You got to be able to worry about all four of those guys. You can't be just worried about one or two. It's when you're worried about all four that makes it a real challenge for an offense and a team. So that would be one of the top priorities for me. It'll be interesting to see what happens at linebacker. Right, there's obviously the hope is that Josh Woods can come back. That was, I think, really devastating for the Lions last year when he got hurt. I think we all expected Josh to really put up big numbers last year when he came out of training camp, and what it was obviously very disappointing, not only for him but for the Lions fans when he got hurt. But that's another position that losing Ryder Varga now in trade, and what are they going to do at the nickel spot? Those are big spots to fill, right? So that would be my number one priority as far as if I was going to be building it. That's where I think I would look free agents wise as a starting point.
What do you make of the James Butler return? It's a classic case of, we love Will Stanback, but is the versatility Butler brings as a receiver as well in Buck's offense? That's what everything has to be mentioned now, too. This is a new philosophy coming in here. How excited are you for part 2 of James?
Here's the thing, too. I don't know how much. Obviously, they know the difference, right? Like, when you have William Stanback and you have James Butler, what are the differences, right? Like, Stanback was good out of the backfield, right? He got good hands. He's a good runner. The only maybe difference would be blocking, right?
Yeah.
That is James Butler a better blocker out of the backfield, or not out of the backfield, but does he understand kind of where he's supposed to go, what his blocking responsibilities are? Because that's a big component of being a running back in this league, right? Those three aspects have to go hand in hand in order for you to have success with that position. So to me, that's probably the difference, right? And the fact that Buck probably feels that Butler would fit his offense a little bit better than Stanback, because I just don't see much difference in the two. But that is something that obviously, James Butler's been around, as everyone knows what he's capable of, and they just feel that he's a better fit for them offensively for what they want to do.
Let's go to the secondary, as we're kind of waffling back and forth on each side of the ball, but lots to talk about. Gary Peters, the Iron Man, is back. Some question marks when it comes to the likes of TJ Lee. Another free agent is Manny Rugamba. Is that going to be a competition depending on what happens in free agents? Maybe an area where you look at some of these newcomers that'll be coming in that are getting signed right now?
Yeah, that's again another getting Gary back. I think he's been a rock back there. Really, he has been a level of consistency that very few have. What you're going to get with him. He's a hard worker. He's a good team guy, and as I said, you know what you're going to get. But some of the other guys that are heading into free agency, that's going to be something to see. Like, are they going to go with some of the younger guys that they've had that maybe they believe if they get an opportunity, can do the job, or are they going to dip into free agency? Right. I guess, one of the interesting thing, guys, is that when you head into this time of the year, like, I know there are players that are being released because of money and salary cap, and, they're going to be, get bonuses, and teams are making some decisions on that. But sometimes as a player that you think your value is one thing, and then when you get to free agency, you realize it's another thing. So, there could be some really good value in some players that you might not think would be available to you. So that will be, again, another thing through free agency that we're going to see potentially how it all works itself out.
Giulio, in your career, how many times did you hit free agency? And do you have any good stories about that whole process?
Question. That's not a fair question to ask a Canadian quarterback who used to back up as a kicker. Come on.
Do you have any good stories from free agency? Like, or can you elaborate on what it's like to kind of
I was just very, very thankful that the general manager would say, "Hey, listen, we'd like to sign you to another contract." Yeah, great. Thanks. Where do I sign? Yeah, no, it's the other thing too is that it's funny you say looking back, like, one of the things you have to appreciate nowadays too is if I had, what was it, four? I played 8 years. I think I had 4 different head coaches. No, so Bob Obilovich, then Dave Ritchie, Joe Palpal, then Adam Rita. Yeah, 4 different head coaches in 8 years. So every couple of years, and so it's always difficult, right? Because you're having to reprove yourself to somebody else and show them that that you can play. So, for me, it was always, it was always a grind, Nick. I tell you, I'm not going to lie. Every year was a battle to keep my head above water because, you especially being a Canadian and a quarterback, like most, general managers were, you know, they're not going to say, who the hell is this guy? Right. Like that's kind of, I remember Eric Tillman kind of saying that to me. Like Eric was our general manager that second year. And, when he came in, he said to me, like I just didn't know you from a hole in the ground, right? Like you were a nobody from nowhere for me, right? So, um, it's hard to read, to try to establish yourself with a new head coach and a new general manager every few years, right? So, but that's the reality. So I'm sorry, that's not a very good free agent story, but that's kind of my story about how it all it came about for me.
Well, there's a pretty natural segue into the whole Canadian quarterback topic right now, though, because, the past 10 years, there was guys like Brandon Bridge and Michael O'Connor that kind of got, cup of coffee playing pro football. But now you're looking at, like, is it surreal now to see Nathan Rourke, Trey Ford, Curtis Rourke? There's this Taylor Algrosma guy right now at the Senior Bowl getting all this crazy attention. So is it crazy to see now?
Yeah, no, and I'm super super excited about it. And I think what it showcases, Nick, is that you're now at the grassroots level here in Canada, you're getting coaching, right? And you're getting better coaching every year. And some of these kids, right? Like all they needed was an opportunity. And now too, with the way that recruiting and being able to send your film and doing all those stuff, like you can expose yourself more. And and I think the coaching part of it is a huge component of it. And I know that the kid from Wilfrid Laurier, I'm sorry, what's his last name?
Algrosma.
Yeah, he went down to Birmingham apparently to some quarterback school that he went to kind of learn the American game and throw an American ball and all that kind of stuff. But you can't deny the physical abilities, and I think a lot of times too is you just need to give them an opportunity, and they're now getting it. Like you said, all the guys that you mentioned there, they're getting the chance and the opportunity to prove that they can play, and they're showing that they can do it just like anybody else. So I'm super excited to see how it's working out because you got to remember back when I was in the 90s there, like if you were a Canadian quarterback, and just to give you an idea, Vince Danielson, who was a great receiver in the CFL for a lot of years, he was a really good quarterback.
UBC.
Vancouver College, he played at UBC.
Yep.
He switched because he knew he had no future as a quarterback, in the league, right? And then who's the other guy that escapes me? The slot back.
Brad Sinopoli.
Brad Sinopoli was another one. You mean he was? I remember seeing him when he first got into the league. They were in the Grey Cup, and it was the first time I'd been exposed to him practicing. And I watched him very closely, and I was like, golly, this guy can really spin it. Like he was good, but he was never going to get an opportunity.
No future.
And the thing is, too, that the frustrating part for me as I watched him was that he was successful in games. Like they put him into games and he was, doing his job. And then, he had to switch position. So to your point, I'm super excited about this like new generation of Canadians that are getting that opportunity. And bottom line is that they're showing that they're capable of competing. And that's fantastic because I think it really allows a lot of the younger guys to see that there is a future, right? That if you want to continue as a quarterback, that you can and have success.
Very well said. Hey, well, we still got you for a minute or two. Few days from now, it'll be Sunday. The legal tampering. Some people call it the Ed Hervey tampering period.
Yeah, because you can't announce the free agent a minute into free agency.
Not till 9:09 a.m. as opposed to 9:01, right? Hey, but jokes aside, this is great for the league. Super Bowl week coming up. You're going to see some CFL news in the spotlight.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head, buddy. That's all this talk, all the lead up to it it keeps everybody in the news, and that's in this day and age that's important. So yeah, I'm excited about it. And you know, you guys do such a good job. Everybody across the league, like they get stuff out there. They're always working behind the scenes to give us more content, to to do what you guys do. As I said, you guys are the best in the business, and I'm not just saying that. The stuff that you provide for me, and for everybody across the league, giving insight into how the team runs and all the news around it it's fantastic. And I think it's great for the league overall.
Appreciate the endorsement, the checks in the mail. And we look
I'll take a burger.
Hey, very quickly, Chiefs, Eagles, who you got?
I won't lie to you. This might be the least interested I'm in a Super Bowl in a long time.
Really?
I wanted to see Josh Allen and the Bills win.
Same.
I did. But I think Philly. I'm going Philly. I think defensively they're super talented. They're going to get after the quarterback, but I know a lot of people are going to say I'm tired of I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes, and that's a tough thing to do these days. He's playing at such a level, but I hope the Eagles can do it.
Yeah, so you're talking about the importance of interior defensive line. Look at these two teams that are the last two standing. Look how people can talk about Mahomes, and Saquon Barkley obviously helped get Philly back over the hump. But look at, Jalen Carter in the middle. He's disruptive on every play. You watch that guy.
And what's the guy? Is it Jones in Kansas
Jones,
City?
Yeah.
I mean, he's pushing two people into the pocket every single time. Like, it's just crazy the impact that he has. But you're right. You got to have a defense to get to this point. And both these teams have exhibited that, and especially on the line of scrimmage, right? That makes everything tick. So it's not some secret formula that someone's just come up with. It's old. It's since the beginning of the game. You win the line of scrimmage, you win the game. Pretty simple.
Very true, my friend. Thanks again, and we shall talk to you. We'll do this again maybe once the roster is more set in the spring. Thanks, buddy.
I'll look forward to it. Thanks again, guys, for all you do. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Giulio. Take care.
Okay, Giulio Caravatta. Always great insight from the man, and pretty good conversation there toward the end about the state of Canadian quarterbacks. The game's in a pretty good state in Canada. I mean, not just quarterbacks. You look at all the Canadians in the NFL.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And Chuba Hubbard, did he break the Canadian rushing record this year, or he came close for Carolina?
I think he became the second to get 1,000 yards.
Yes,
I remember seeing that.
That's right. Yeah,
he's making a name for himself too. Even a guy like Chase Brown in Cincinnati, he's kind of primed to be their breakout, workhorse back.
Chase Brown, that's a guy who's featured in that commercial there with
great, a lot of Canadian names. And I mean, even back to when I was with the University of Manitoba, like they had their quarterback at the time was Des Catelier, then Jackson Tuchinski came after Des, and I mean, I thought both guys were like stellar guys. Like Jackson's a guy that's getting some potential. He might be getting some CFL love in terms of the draft and all that, and I believe his draft year is next year, but Des is now a coach with the Edmonton Elks, part of that new staff. So, I mean, back when I was watching U Sports a couple years ago, you could tell that these Canadian quarterbacks were no slouches, and it's showing now, especially, obviously the Rourkes and Trey Ford are leading the way, but there's another wave coming.
Yeah, definitely another wave, and before he said it, like a lot of the guys, Brad Sinopoli, Vince Danielson, as great as they were, there wasn't necessarily, the coaching wasn't what it is now, and they determined that there was no future in it, but they found other ways to make their name in the pro game. All right, a cool little debate here over what state has the best CFL players. Where'd you see this? This was
House of CFL.
House of CFL.
I posted a graphic earlier today on Wednesday and caught my interest. So
I normally catch a lot of their great stuff, but I did not see this one until you brought it to my attention. So we're going to have our own little game here with it, listing off these states. There's 5 states. California, you got the likes of VA, Vernon Adams, Tim White, Kenny Lawler, Darius Pickett, just to name a few. Texas, Willie Jefferson, Reggie Begelton, Bo Levi Mitchell. Continues to get better with age. Our own Sione Tuhema, part of that list. Florida, Dietrich Nichols, Roland Milligan, Sean Bain, Janarian Grant, good friend of ours, long since retired, Chris Rainey, a great Florida Gator back in the day. Ohio, of course, you got Zach Caleros, Trevor Harris, couple pretty good quarterbacks, AJ Ouellette in the backfield. Georgia, our friend Gary Peters, Lorenzo Malden, Mario Alford, Marcus Sales, just to name a few. We're each going to pick a state here.
Yeah, you can get the first pick here.
I like Texas. Just something about Willie Jefferson, future Hall of Famer, as is Reggie Begelton and Bo Levi Mitchell, probably. Sione Tuhema, you never know. Something about Texas, but you can't go wrong with any of these.
Texas has been on a good run with defensive linemen lately, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Willie Jefferson.
Pete Robertson was a guy I neglected to mention.
And even, I believe, I'm just confirming this right now, I know he played...
Jeff Code is right.
Jackson Jeffcoat is another guy that was on Winnipeg. He's from Dallas, so that's another, like, they've been pumping out defensive linemen lately.
Jackson's father, Jim Jeffcoat, a Dallas Cowboy, right? Hence how
so
he
naturally,
was a...
yeah.
But yes, yeah.
I like California, though. California's got a lot of star power. Like, you got, like, VAs from there, Kenny Lawler, Tim White. They got the quarterbacks covered, too, with Drew Brown.
That's just it. Like, the skill guys, California, Georgia... Texas has the trenches with those guys, and maybe that gets back to our mantra of, the trenches and the line of scrimmage being a big X factor. But you can't go wrong with any of these. Florida, right?
Tough guys from Florida. Like Dedrick Mills, that guy runs hard.
Luchez Purifoy, another Floridian, currently a free agent. But yeah, that's a good. That'll spark a good debate.
Yeah, well, even Cali too. Josh Woods, our linebacker right from there. So. UCLA guy. I think him and Ardarius Pickett were teammates at UCLA, or at least they both went there for college. So yeah, a lot of pedigree. It's an interesting debate. I like that there's a good debate with even in Canada too, right? There's BC, Ontario. I mean, Manitoba sneaky has a lot of athletes now, I find. So.
Saskatchewan has always pumping them out, right?
Yeah, always the tough guys are coming from Saskatchewan, all the greedy guys.
Jason Claremont just epitomizes that, right?
Yeah. I don't know if this audience would really know this, but Andrew Harris. So actually, yeah, his first was Andrew Harris. There was his high school in Winnipeg, Oak Park. Andrew Harris started there. When he left, Nip Gemsky got there. When he left, Brady Oliveira got there. They were obviously a very good high school when it came to football in Manitoba. So
you played against those guys?
I played against Brady. I played against Brady. Did not fare well.
Andrew Harris is like closer to my age. You wouldn't have played against him, but.
When I was seeing Brady in high school, my first thought was, this guy is Andrew Harris. He's the next Andrew Harris, and obviously that take has aged quite well with what he's done in Winnipeg. But
what about crazy. Andrew Harris? Do you have that on your bingo card?
For what? Oh, the Saskatchewan,
his new job.
Yeah, that caught me off guard, but good for him. I know he wants to get into coaching. Well, he was spotted. I know he's close with obviously Coach Corey Mace and then AJ Ouellette, but he was spotted last year in Hamilton. Rocking AJ's rider jersey.
Right.
So that's sparked up a lot of intrigue and good for him. He's running backs coach, right?
Running backs coach, and the Mace connection is really what helped clinch it too, right? They were in Toronto together, and Mace's last year there, of course, was the year before he became Saskatchewan's head coach. And yeah, all the time in the world for Andrew. Of course, we had him on last year to talk about the Running Back Relentless documentary. Very good episode. Can check that special edition out with First and Now. That was the week he was being honored in Winnipeg, right? I think it was the day before we were flying there for the Week 3 game. We did the interview. So there you go. Grooming that next generation of players turn great coaches. Great to see in this league as well. All right, it's that time. Go for it or punt. We'll wrap it up with They Not Like Us. What are you going for here?
So shockingly, it's not NFL related this week. So we've drifted away from...
I tried to make it not all NFL related. There's some NFL in here, but not all of it. Yes.
So my go for it, I can't remember if I already brought this up. I think I brought up the fact that after the Grey Cup, the Vancouver Christmas market got us passes to go to hang out at the market. So when I took advantage of that and went to the Christmas market in December, and one of my Christmas gifts that I got from this market was there was like a butter station. So and there were all these flavored butters, and I ended up choosing an espresso butter, and I got that as a Christmas gift. And this thing is so good. I'm trying to track down more or the company that had them, because I want to get a refill on this, because they had other flavors too. I think there was like a Saskatoon one. They had all these different kinds of flavors that I was And you can obviously sample them all like you do at the market there. So this espresso butter, just with like a nice like rye bread or a white toast. Usually white is kind of better because you get more of that.
Mhm.
You want to get more of the butter taste in it. It tastes like espresso. And espresso is obviously kind of like the trendy taste right now. Obviously with martinis, and it feels like everything else right now is going espresso.
Martinis,
So
of course, yeah.
the espresso butter, I'm all in on it right now. And I'm almost done it too. So I always like save it for like the
And you got
weekends
this at the market.
Yeah, there was a station there, and I was sampling them all. It was actually funny. So I was thinking like I needed more ideas for gifts. So I said, hey, like surprise me and pick one. And I looked away and on Christmas Day opened it up, and it was the espresso one, and I'm happy it was because it was one of my top 3 choices, and I'm really loving it.
Awesome. Have to check that out. Okay, I'll go here. Major League Baseball teams, in my opinion, do an outstanding job of honoring their legends. And the Seattle Mariners take this to a solid level, particularly with their Hall of Famers. Ichiro Suzuki, of course, announced as part of the class of 2025 going into Cooperstown. CC Sabathia, part of that as well. But looking at the Mariners' schedule, trying to figure out, what's a good day to go down? We go to Hamilton on Thursday, the 7th of August. That will be the first night of Ichiro weekend in Seattle. It's a 4-game series against Tampa Bay, and they're doing something to honor him every night. They're giving away a jersey. They're giving away those replica little mini Hall of Fame plaques on the Sunday, I think.
Okay.
And it's basically celebrating Ichiro for a whole 4-game series. I just love the way they do that. They did something similar with Ken Griffey Jr. Edgar Martinez, way back when, a whole weekend is dedicated. I'm all for that. That's going to be awesome. Not sure I'll be able to get down there that weekend, because a lot of those weekends get busy. These giveaways, there's lineups for hours in front of the park to be in among the first 20,000 inside. But I love that. Great way to honor Ichiro, the first Japanese-born player to enter the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and a trailblazer at that too, right? To see what the Dodgers are doing right now. It seems like there's one after the other right now coming out from Japan right now, and it's pretty amazing to see.
My first time seeing Ichiro was in 2001. It was a Mariners game in Anaheim on a family trip to Disneyland, and I'll never forget, there was all these Japanese fans with their back when you brought still cameras, right? Not just iPhone. The amount of Japanese Ichiro fans taking pictures, and it was like the Beatles. They were watching the Beatles, it seemed like. And it was like knowing the star he became. So that's what I'm going for. Love it. August 7th to 10th down in Seattle.
I always like checking out the Mariners game, so I might find a way to get down there for that.
The Sunday day, the plaque day. I have one of those Andre Dawson mini plaques.
Okay.
As he went in Montreal Expos legend. And it's let's talk about that. Let's think about it.
Could be the move.
Could be the move. Get there super early. And love it. All right. You want to continue this, or should I do mine?
I'll let you go back to back here.
Okay, so we promised it wouldn't be all NFL. And I get it. You heard from Giulio. He's not excited about the Super Bowl. And this whole NFL is rigged narrative. How do people think the NFL rigs games?
Yeah, when you really think about it, it can't be done. There's too many people involved.
Now, Grant, yes, there was some bad...
Think about it like that.
There was some bad calls, okay? Did Josh Allen get the first down? I think he did.
I don't know, but think doesn't matter.
That's it.
You have to know.
You have to have enough to overturn the call on the field.
Yeah.
The best angle I saw, he might have got it by like a millimeter.
He probably got it.
But if you don't want it to come down to replay, execute. Like the fourth down, where was it? Kincaid dropped that ball. That's not really getting enough heat in my opinion, because that was could have been an all-time play by Josh Allen. It was Kincaid. The play before that, was it Cook, the backfield? Can you break one more tackle, you get the first down.
Yeah.
You're not in a 4th and 5. Like, people thinking when they're reviewing these plays, they have head office and Roger Goodell's like, we better award this to Kansas City guys. We better I don't think so.
The Xavier Worthy catch in the second quarter was pretty sus. That one, that one kind of it's getting a lot of heat too now because of what happened at the end of the game.
Because of what?
But yeah, I mean, shout out to Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator in Kansas City. He draws up a corner blitz on that fourth down, and guys in Josh Allen's face in under a second, and Josh Allen still makes that. He throws a dot to Kincaid for a first down in it. I saw when it happened too, because like CBS didn't really even talk about it until I think maybe like the third down in Kansas City's drive, where they showed a replay of the Kincaid having two hands on that football. And it was just devastating because, I'm with Giulio. I think you want some new blood. The three-peat's an interesting storyline, obviously.
Yeah, I was pulling.
Sucks. Yeah.
I was pulling for Buffalo.
Sucks, but
I had an interest, let's say, in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So I'm not here to defend the Chiefs at all. I mean, my team lost to them twice in the last 5 years in the Super Bowl, but yeah. Fans will be fans. It's short for fanatic. I get it.
A week ago at this point, I was saying Baltimore or Buffalo will beat Kansas City because they're a better team. And now I don't know anything. I think Philadelphia is a better team than Kansas City, but I feel like I don't know anything. So
it's almost like we should stop doubting Kansas City until someone other than, I guess, Joe Burrow or Tom Brady beats them. So
I don't know. Saquon's going to save us.
Could be.
But my punt goes right into the storyline too, is that how is there not, so in tennis, as long as I've been watching tennis, you see this technology that they have where when the ball goes out of bounds and they show they show the imprint of the ball. How does that not exist in football yet? Like a microchip or anything where you can I know there's a lot of bodies moving around, but the last time the Bills and Chiefs played in an important playoff game, it led to a change in the overtime rules. I can't help but think that after this whole fourth down spot debacle where the refs have to, use their eyeballs in a split second, that this is going to spark maybe a initiative, at least from the NFL, and who knows, maybe even the CFL one day to get chips in the football and improve this technology, because getting it right at the end of the day is what matters, in my opinion.
So many times the spot is, spotting the football. It's
whatever
one of those
the ref
things
says,
you don't think about it too much. You assume that they know where they're putting it, and back to the fourth down thing. A lot of people thought they actually had a bad spot the previous play.
Yes, yeah.
So it should not have been fourth down.
About that,
yeah. I'm with you. In this day and age, we're talking about baseball going to robot umpires. Yeah. How do you not figure out a way to do that definitively technology-wise? I don't know.
Well, it's not like I'm definitely over this at this point, but the 2023 game against Winnipeg last year, where Vernon Adams Jr. reaches out and Adam Bigill's chasing him. If they spot that and then the third down play was a turnover, if Vernon gets that first down, maybe there's a chip in there and it shows that he got the first down. I mean,
and that's another one of those. Yeah, did he get the first down? He could have, but still,
it's tough to know, right?
Pick up a foot on the next play.
And the butterfly effect.
And we all know what happens. The
butterfly effect of that is there needs to be like a documentary on that, because if you really think about what would have changed if Vernon got that first down, it's pretty crazy to think. But anyways,
that's
I'm over it. I'm definitely over it.
A documentary on the
think about it.
The gravy bowl debacle is.
If you're listening to this, think about what would have changed if Vernon Adams Jr. got that first down. It's pretty crazy to think.
I've moved on from it.
I'm over it though.
Well, it'll make breaking this Grey Cup drought at some point all the much more sweeter.
Exactly.
We can talk about that very quickly. Before They Not Like Us, are we doing? I can't pick against Kansas City.
I'll take Philly.
Yeah.
I'll take Philly.
Kansas City 27, Philly 24.
I'm going to go 30-27. So we're in the same boat.
It'll be high, yeah.
But I like Philly. Well, last time, Jalen Hurts had the game of his life. Nah, except for that one turnover. But
that was the difference.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, feels like that's been the theme
and that,
of the NFL
again,
playoffs.
That's another one. The defensive holding at the end, everyone wants to, if you execute, you don't put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
So,
how about Carson Wentz going against his old team? That's another storyline.
Yeah.
If Mahomes gets hurt, he's been hurt. And remember last year or 2 years ago with the ankle?
Yep.
Like if that happens,
Chad Henne had to come in and mop up a bit in that divisional round against Jacksonville, was it?
I think it was Cleveland. He threw the first down pass to Tyreek Hill on fourth down.
That's twice. Yeah, twice.
Well,
twice Mahomes got hurt.
But in the Super Bowl, he got hurt too against Philadelphia.
That's right.
His ankle, yeah.
But the one against Jacksonville, they chronicled in the quarterback Netflix.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you're right.
Chad Henne.
That was last year, yeah. Houston. It was Houston.
It was 2 years ago against Jacksonville. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah,
Or Chad Henne. Anyway,
I'm wrong.
Someone listening can look us up and add us. And
I remember
whatever.
he threw a first down to Tyreek Hill against Cleveland, though. I remember that.
Yeah, that was also a divisional round game where he got hurt. So it happened twice in, I guess, 3 years in the divisional round.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, some good backups in this game, though. If Kenny Pickett has to come in or if Carson Wentz has to come in, like, level of play won't be dropping too much, although these defenses are going to be tough. But
yeah, I'm intrigued. I think these are the two best teams standing.
Yeah.
And
give credit.
same as last year, the two best teams went at it, went to overtime. Are we going to get 2 overtimes in a row in the Super Bowl? It would be something. But, all right, they knock like us. Where are you going?
I'm going to college basketball for this because
Caleb Love. I saw this.
Did you see this buzzer beater?
Yes.
So Caleb Love's one of those guys I feel like has been in college basketball for like 10 years. He was playing at North Carolina, transferred to Arizona, but he hit a 3/4 of the court length shot to force overtime, and his Arizona Wildcats ended up beating Iowa State in overtime in that game. So, I mean, if you haven't seen this buzzer beater, go check it out. Caleb Love, March Madness hero, and getting his Wildcats back in contention here. But another thing with college basketball, I feel like I'm never into college basketball. I guess it's almost February, so it's starting to get to that time.
Yeah,
March Madness is around the corner. But so Alabama and the SEC, have you seen how like loaded that conference is this year? So I'm looking at Alabama's schedule right now. They got number 1 Auburn, then they got number 22 Missouri, then they got number 9 Kentucky, number 14 Mississippi State, number 6 Tennessee.
This is the SEC
Florida.
Tournament you're talking about?
No, this is just their schedule. This is just their schedule.
Okay, yeah.
Like all in a row. It's crazy. So the SEC is loaded this year. Alabama's a contender.
Football schools are now basketball schools.
Yeah. Well, Alabama's been doing it for a while too. They got I think it's Brandon Miller, right? That's on Charlotte right now. He's a big on Charlotte. That was at Alabama. So they just haven't really been able to get over that hump. But yeah, I guess March Madness would be. I always love that time of the year. Sooner than you think.
Fun time of year. Yes. College. Have you ever been to a college basketball game? I went and saw UNLV and Boise State on one of my in Vegas. One of my Vegas junkets
with the Rebels,
in 2019. Now it's the type of thing. The running Rebels weren't good. Boise State, I think they might have made the tournament that year. I can't remember, but it was awesome. It was just the history of that place with Jerry Tarkanian back in the day and all the success they had. That was kind of cool. Thomas and Mack Center, the arena just off the Vegas Strip, was fun.
Yeah, it's definitely on my bucket list. But yeah, you got Auburn right now is number 1, Duke's number 2, Iowa State. Iowa State's kind of a random one to be up there so high. So different. Michigan State's always, but I always like Michigan State. I've always been a Spartans guy. Tom Izzo, yeah. So they're top 10er now. So excited for it.
Yeah, I'll have to do another bracket in the office this year. All right. We were in with Jay Janauer on Saturday, and we were kind of hanging out with him at Global BC. He was getting ready for his sportscast, and the World Cup alpine skiing was going on, and we had a Canadian win it at Kitzbühel. Am I saying that right? In Austria. They not like us. These downhill skiers who go down there, whatever miles per hour they're doing, you have to be built a certain way to do that. And props to Crawford and the Canadian team for getting a win. Doesn't always happen, but yeah, watching those skiers, crazy.
Yeah, massive kudos. And like I find like all of those extreme winter sports, like the skeleton and the bobsled, especially too, where you're going head first. It takes a special kind of person to be able to do that. So shout out to Jack, gold medal, bringing it home for the country. Love to see it. And
then rewatching the CBC call of it, it was almost like a British soccer announcer describing it. He was a British announcer, and he was getting excited and yelling, and love to see it.
Yeah, shout out Jack.
All right. What an episode. We hit on a lot, and we encourage you to subscribe, rate, leave a review, first and now, wherever you get your podcast. Head to our YouTube channel, arrow up. Episodes 1 through 4 of Home Turf are there, 5 and 6 to come on Monday, the 3rd January. Like that. Almost over. And be sure to head to our YouTube and BCLions.com, all our social channels for all the up-to-date BC Lions transactions. On behalf of our podcast partner, World Vision Canada, we thank you as well for tuning in, and be safe in New Orleans. I'm telling you, it can get dangerous.
I'll do my best. I'm just excited the fact that the next time we'll be sitting here, we'll have a new cast of free agents on our team, some signings. It's going to be an exciting time. The roster's going to start, kind of making its form, and Kamloops is coming sooner than you think.
Sooner than we think. We'll be heading up to the local there and having a couple of Coors Lights. All right. First and now, back after free agency.